Hi everyone, Maryl Celiz Paz here with your monthly astrology starcast for August 2020. So there are several important things that we want to talk about here, and I always try to keep it brief, but with the monthly videos it's impossible. So since those are the only ones I'm doing right now for my English channel, then I'm gonna go fast, okay? The first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the full moon that's coming up in the sun in Leo and the moon in Aquarius on August 3rd, which is Monday. Okay, super important full moon this year. Why? Because when it comes to the moon, okay, when it comes to, you're talking full moon, you're talking the sun is shining all of its light on the moon. The moon is really the focus here, and you're talking about the moon in Aquarius. You're really talking about the sign that rules change, that rules humanitarian efforts, that rules this era that we're stepping into. We've been in the era of Pisces, which was a very religious, spiritual era, but was an era with a lot of mysticism and a lot of things where we really couldn't see what was actually there. Okay, there was a lot of division between what is spirit and what is science. The era of Aquarius, or the age of Aquarius, is the one that actually is bringing together spirituality and science, is bringing together physics and metaphysics. All of this information, it's really, Aquarius is the sign that follows the values of the French Rebellion, okay? So we're talking about fraternity, we're talking about, brotherhood, we're talking about liberté, freedom. Really humanitarian efforts to really free minds and help us see that beneath everything is energy, and energy is just a field. There's nothing separate. We're all together. What I do affects you, what you do affects me. So this whole axis is super interesting. This full moon, and I always tell you guys, full moon and new moon, just like equinox and solstice, and all of these are portals of energy, and they're opportunities for us to release energy and to welcome energy. Okay, that's what a portal is. So this axis, super interesting, with the sun in Leo, in the moon, the opposite sign. Of course, full moon is always the opposite sign, right? In the moon, moon in Aquarius, you have this axis of myself, me, I, okay? The adult self. And I mean the self because Leo is actually the sign that is really focused. If you have any Leos in your life, or if you are a Leo, you understand this self I'm talking about, okay? Leos are really focused on themselves. And this is neither a good or a bad thing. There's nothing that's ever good or bad, but it's really how you use this energy. And that's what this full moon is really about, okay? So what are we talking about here? The self with a capital S. That's what we're really talking about. So how am I really putting on my own crown and understanding my sovereignty and understanding that I am the son of or daughter of divinity, and really then taking that and going into the energy of the moon, which is Aquarius, and really shining my light, giving my love and giving my gifts to humanity and to the community, because that's what Aquarius is all about. So it's really this dynamic, this play between self and not just the other, because it's not first house Aries, which is baby self, and the other one person, my relationship, right? My partner, my other person, seventh house, which would be Libra. We're talking Leo Aquarius. So it's the adult self, the self that knows itself really well, knows that it's a king or queen, knows that it is a spirit living in a body, and takes that responsibility and then goes into the Aquarian energy, which is what the moon is going to be in, and says, how do I take all of these gifts, all of these talents, this awesomeness that I have, and pour that for the benefit of the world. Okay, that is the energy that we're dealing with on Monday with the full moon. Remember that the moon stays in a sign for about 2.5 days or so, so we'll have this energy to play with, on Monday, Tuesday, maybe like Wednesday morning. But really, the moment of the full moon is going to happen on Monday. So what you need to do is really look at yourself and see, where am I playing with these energies? And am I playing with these energies in the balanced, productive way? Okay. Is my ego wounded? Is my ego overinflated? Or is my ego actually in the right balance and serving spirit? Is it giving me enough strength and courage to step onto the stage and do something that I came to do, and then humbly stepping outside and letting me do my thing for others. Okay, that's the idea and that's the dynamic with this full moon, with the axis of Sun in Leo and the Moon in Aquarius. These two are fixed signs. The fixed axis, the fixed cross in the zodiac is fascinating and very, very, whenever signs are, the Sun and the Moon are making either an opposition, or there's a square, a 90-degree relationship with these signs, or maybe with other planets in these signs too, with the fixed cross, okay, which I'm talking Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio, something big happens. Because one, the era or age of Aquarius, that's what we're stepping into. So it's really change, big shift, okay? And two, this is if you look at art, religious architecture, you'll always see these signs or these symbols, the symbols for these signs, the bull, the lion. I have a lion right back here, if you see it. The human being pouring water, right? That's Aquarius. The eagle, the scorpion, that's the eagle is iconology everywhere, okay? You will see that there's a lot of this because this is a very, very telling cross axis of our times and the times that we are in, which are times of transition. So whenever the Sun and the Moon are in this, such as, back when the Sun is in Aquarius and the Moon is in Leo, or what we're going to have on Monday, or when it's happening with Taurus and Scorpio, you're going to feel it. Regardless, all of the stuff that I always share with you guys, all of this energy, everybody's going to feel it. If you are, of course, an Aquarius, a Leo, a Scorpio, or a Taurus, you're going to feel it even more accentuated. However, it's really energy for us all to work with. Okay, and for us all to work with in the way that I've told you, which is what am I doing, and am I in my sovereignty and in my courage and in my big role, and how do I take that role and really make it benefit all of humanity? That's the deal. Okay, so self-check, and if you have some work to do, this is a great opportunity to do that work. August 5th, Mercury steps into the sign of Leo. What happens here? Sun is in the sign of Leo. Sun is the essence, okay? And Mercury, mind, verbal ability, steps in and it's gonna hang. So these are gonna work together, mind and essence, okay? This is gonna be a very strong and important transit, because there are other things that we're going to talk about right now that are going to be a lot heavier in the month of August. And I'm not one to ever sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell it like it is, but I'm also one to always give you strategies to work with. I'm a coach, so I want to give you strategies to work with the energy that is going to be taking place right now in August that hasn't taken place at least in the entire millennium, okay? So this is something that we're really going to dig into right now, which is the retrogrades. So Mercury in Leo with the Sun in Leo, you have your essence and your mind are going to work together. I really highly recommend that you dig into everything that has to do with all this Leo energy of joy, the mind, and how to get into joy states, flow states, happiness, whatever it is that's going to trigger a high vibration joy state for you, which is the energy that Leo rules. Leo rules having fun, joy, enjoyment, all of that stuff, so that you can take that and your mind is highly trained in that frequency and use it to really deal with everything else that I'm going to talk about for the rest of the month, okay? So it's a great opportunity for you to take a great class on how to learn how to meditate, or to really train your mind to do what you actually wanted to do and not the other way around, okay? The 7th of August, Venus is going to step into the sign of Cancer. There are a lot of planets right now in Capricorn, okay? Saturn's in Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn, Jupiter's in Capricorn. And so when some planet steps into Cancer, we're talking about an opposition. So we're talking about adding a little bit of tension into this astrological soup that we have here in August. However, Venus is always a benefic planet. It's always a planet that brings us, because it's the planet of love, traditionally it brings us ease. So it's not going to be a super hard transit that we're going to feel like how we've been feeling Mercury and Cancer, super opposite all of these planets in Capricorn that I just mentioned, and it's been feeling like a bit of a pull. Well, this, the 5th, that goes away because it's going to step into Mercury, steps into Leo, so it's no longer in Cancer, so it's great. That energy is released. Venus steps in there, but it's not going to be felt as difficult. Perhaps we're going to feel a little bit more sentimental, emotional, like we need love from our partners. We need, to be fed and hugged and all this stuff. Totally fine. If your partner is super aware of this energy that's happening with the Leo Aquarius axis, to remind that person that the Leo axis is the energy of giving love, and the Aquarius axis is the energy of receiving love. So this axis in particular, you got to give and receive love. Okay, so this is going to be just fine. However, on the 15th of August, we step into before that, we have the 8-8 portal, okay? And I know that I didn't do a video for this on my English channel. If you speak Spanish, it's on my Spanish channel, Maryl Celiz en Español. I did do, because I do weekly videos there, I did do a video on the August 8th portal. However, on my Instagram and my Facebook, particularly in my Instagram at Maryl Celiz Paz, I always do everything bilingual. And I post there a lot more than I post on YouTube. So go ahead and go and check the energy for the check the content for the 8-8 portal. I'm not going to go too much into it because we have so many other things to talk about, but suffice it to say this: we're already in that energy, sort of increasing the energy of the portal. The 8-8 portal is a very powerful annual portal. It always happens in the sign of Leo, of course, because it's the 8th of August, and it's a time that has been sort of revered as like a very special time, back when Egyptians were building the pyramids and all these other things, and we were really very much as humans in touch with metaphysics and our cosmic origins in our spirituality and all of these things. Okay, it's a moment to step into our power. It's a moment to step into our sovereignty. It's a moment to step into our divine origin. And you're gonna feel it very strongly on the 8th, but you probably already started feeling as what is this concept of power that I have? Like, am I in my power? Am I really in my joy? Am I really in my purpose? Am I really on my path? Okay. After the 8th, there's also about 13 days or so to really also kind of anchor the energy of that portal. And so you have time to work with this. Look up any information that you can on the Lion's Gate portal. That's the name for the 8-8 portal. And really work with, if you see that you're not really in that energy yet, work with that energy. You have a great opportunity to do so before the 8th on the 3rd, which is the full moon, okay? The thing I wanted to talk about. August 15th, the planet Uranus goes into its retrograde period. On its own, not such a huge deal, even though I have told everybody, but maybe not in this channel, but in my Spanish channel, that Uranus in the sign of Taurus really is very intimately related and has correlation with the pandemic that is happening right now, with all the shift that is happening with Mother Earth, okay, which is Mother Earth is let's say Taurus is the sign that rules everything related to Mother Earth. Uranus is the planet of big change. There's a before and after when Uranus is involved, and Uranus right now is in the sign of Taurus, okay? Uranus also is the natural ruler of the sign of Aquarius. So these are big changes that are happening for Mother Earth for this new age of Aquarius. Okay, because we haven't lived in the way we were supposed to be living. We're not living in harmony with Mother Earth, or we weren't. And now we need to make sure that all the pieces are in place. But in order for the pieces to be in place for us to live in a very different way, many things need to be destroyed and fall apart and, be cleared out of the electromagnetic matrix. And that's not going to be an easy process. You guys have been feeling it this entire year. We've all been going through it. The more aware you are of what's going on, the more you're going to be able to work with the energies and not sort of be surprised by everything that's happening, which is why I make these videos, so that I can tell you how to work with this stuff, okay? So on the 15th, Uranus goes retrograde. Again, on its own, it's not a huge deal, but what happens? We already have a bunch of planets on retrograde, okay? And so when Uranus goes retrograde, the whole set of the social planets and the generational planets, social planets being Jupiter and Saturn, generational planets being Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they're all going to be retrograde. Retrograde is an energy that is felt internally. Okay, so every planet in its sign is going to it's going to look like it's moving backwards. And it's going to feel like there's a lot of stuff in our lives related to these planets, especially the way, you know, these are social and these are generational planets because their orbits take a lot longer to complete, okay, because they're further away from the sun. And so their effects are typically on society, their effects are on generations. And so the kind of things that we're going to be shifting internally ourselves individually are going to be the things that are going to affect society, and they're going to affect generations. So they're not going to be the kind of things where like, oh my gosh, my person and, you know, my own finances and things, but really, what is my role here? What am I doing here with humanity? How do I, you know, embody those French revolutionary values of brotherhood and freedom? And what does it mean for me to be free if it costs somebody else their freedom? How do we achieve that together? Because we can't have one without the other. And again, the sun in Leo and the moon in Aquarius working together, it's like, how do I do all this stuff for me so that then I can help everybody else do it? Okay, and that's the energy we're dealing with here in this month of August. And this fifth, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth retrograde plus Chiron retrograde, plus in September there's going to be a slight moment in which Mars also goes to retrograde. It's going to be heavy, okay, for the rest after the 15th. This hasn't happened the entire millennium, okay? This is I looked back through my ephemerides. I looked back to see if there was any time before this where there have been this many retrogrades in these particular set of planets. All I checked back was through 2000, and there haven't. This is the first year this is happening. So you may not be used to it. It may feel very heavy. Completely understandable. Just understand this, that the work that you have to do with a retrograde is always internal. So what this means is it's not a time for you to bring out new things, you know, come up with a brand new project that you're going to announce, you know, right now at the end of August or anything like that. This is like, what do I need to do internally? How do I need to go in and shift and move big pieces of my thinking, of my feeling, of my emotions, of my energy, you know, all these things that are the cause, so that the effect later on, when all of these planets start going direct and, you know, get out of the retrograde periods, can be really so much more productive. Okay, so that's what's happening, and I urge you to really get used to this stuff, because I looked forward to a little bit in the ephemerides, in these tables of planets that I have in their signs, and this is going to be happening between August and October 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. So to a certain degree, maybe not as heavy as this one. I think there's one year that's going to be a little heavier than this one, but to a certain degree, it's almost like the cosmos is asking us to get used to this level of internal rearrangement, of preparation, of sort of a retrospective in what we have been doing for a while. Okay, this is going to be like the annual checkup. It's your annual, it's like you take your car, in this case your car is your life, okay, and you're going to take it to get its, like, you know, 100-mile service, and the guy's going to be like, look, you got to do this, you got to change this, you know, this needs tuning, this needs filling up, this needs and you really got to get rid of this and stop doing that. You know, it's in that regard that we're going to have to do the internal work. And this is going to be through, I think the 13th of September is when we're going to be having all of this. And, you know, after that, it's going to be each and every planet is going to start coming out of its retrograde period, and we're going to feel a lot lighter. If you did the inner work during this time of the heavy retrograde period, you're going to have fantastic, amazing, huge results with whatever it is that you worked on. Okay? And so is the planet, because we're all in this together, and that's kind of the point of the whole thing. If not, it wouldn't be the social and generational planets that are actually in the heavy retrograde, what I'm calling the Great Retrograde period, okay? It would be the personal planets, and that's not the case. It's these big players that have an effect on society, have an effect on generations. You know, there's a ton of things happening that the media is not even covering, where things are coming to light. Let's not even go there. That energy is heavy, and I don't really discuss it. I mean, I'm definitely informed about it, but I don't like to discuss it because I really like to keep the vibe high with you guys. That's my job here, okay? Especially right now with the energy of the sun in Leo. It's high vibe, it's enjoyment, it's the energy of joy and really heart-centered energy, okay? But we all know lots of things are shifting and changing. Lots of players are coming in and players are going out, and we all know what's happening, especially if you live in California and you understand what's going on, you know, in politics and Hollywood and whatever. So that's happening, and we're going to see the effects of all of that later, okay? So go within, lots of meditation, lots of whatever practices you have to really make the shifts internally that you need to make, okay? The 18th, new moon in the sign of Leo. You know that new moon is the sun in the same sign as the moon. In this case, it's the sign of Leo. This is the opportunity that you have. This is the moment where you have the chance to really hone in on this Leo, fun, light, joy energy. And that sort of, you know, I'm the queen and king of my own world and my own kingdom, my own reality, and what am I doing to really step in and step up that role with humanity, okay? So new moons are great times to plan things, and they're great times for you to sit down and journal about what you want to do with the next 2 weeks or until the next full or new moon. And so I encourage you to do that on this new moon in Leo, especially with regards to what am I feeling in my heart? What do I really, really, really want to do, wish to do? How do I see that role as, you know, if I step into my greatness, how am I going to then contribute to the rest of the world? All of that stuff is in play with this new moon in Leo, okay? And, you know, anything that's come up for you since the 15th with all these retrogrades, you have a chance there to also pour it into your writing, pour it into your meditation, and see what you want to get rid of and see what you want to welcome into your life, okay? Because new moons, full moons are portals of energy, and that means energy comes in, energy goes out, okay? Accentuated. The 20th of August, Mercury goes into the sign of Virgo, and shortly after, on the 22nd, the sun goes into the sign of Virgo. So again, we're going to have this dynamic where the sun and Mercury are working together, essence of self and the mind working together, aligned. And this is going to be felt very, very different than when the sun and Mercury were both working together in Leo earlier in the month, because Leo is, you know, let me think big, think great, think how are we going to do this in a more, you know, glamorous, grandiose way. Virgo is a completely different thing. Leo is like, here I am, hi, look at me. Virgo is actually like, if you don't notice that I'm here, I'm totally cool with that, you know. And if you're a Leo or you're a Virgo, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. And Virgo's like, I'm cool, you know, I'm just here thinking about things and analyzing things, and I already, you know, you did the whole rundown for you. I know exactly what's going on with you, and I'm gonna be here thinking. And so it's a very different vibe that we're going to go into by the end of the month. I think it would be a great time for us to go into sort of a cleanse, detox. Virgo is the sign of health, and it is the sign that also allows you to really, you know, go deep in detox mode, okay? So whether you want to be like, okay, it's always holistic. So it's anything that, any one aspect that you're going to take and be like, oh, I'm going to detox this, your food. Oh, I'm gonna detox, you know, my closet, is always gonna have a repercussion, an effect on another aspect of your life, because we're holistic beings. So for example, the minute that you go into like, okay, I'm gonna do a cleanse, and I'm gonna do like a smoothie cleanse, or I'm just gonna eat raw vegan, or I'm gonna do whatever, your body is going to start to shed on a chemical level, but that's going to have an effect also on an electromagnetic level, okay? Because electricity, electrochemistry, electromagnetism, it's all connected, okay? You're going to start to think differently, maybe more clearly. You're going to start to feel your feelings a little more clearly, and then you're going to be like, okay, well, I got to, you know, clear out these emotions that I didn't even know I had from that memory or that trauma or what that thing happened. Maybe you're going to want to have conversations with other people about these certain things and see who you want to keep or not in your life in terms of friendships or acquaintances or whatever, okay? So see how this dynamic works. Well, the end of August is a great time for you to do that, starting on the 22nd, where Mercury is going to be hanging out with the sun in a Virgo, okay? Both of them are going to be in the sign of health and of purity and of analysis. So there you have it. That is your month in a gist, not such a quick gist, but this as fast as I can go. And of course, please, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram at Maryl Celiz Paz, where I take all this information and I give you a lot more stuff in detail, because of course I post there, you know, daily, if not daily, every other day or so, okay? And here on my English channel, for now, I'm only posting the monthly summary, but don't you worry. Unless you're a Virgo, then you know, you're probably always worrying. I will increase that. I just don't want to make any promises that I won't be able to keep. And I've got a lot of stuff that I'm doing. You can always email me at maryl@marylcelizpaz.com. All the information is here below in the description, so that we can do a session and we can really dig deep into your chart for the purpose of self-knowledge. I don't practice predictive astrology, so there's not like, oh, can you do my solar return, or can you look at what's going to happen 5 years from now? No. I want to look at who you are in essence as a person. I want to tell you about your needs. I want to tell you about, you know, how you love, how, you know, what are these, what is this design that you came with, and what are these energies that you have to work with, whether they are resources or they are challenges. And then as a coach, I give you strategies to work with that energy for both your personal growth and for the improvement of whatever area of your life you really want to work on. Okay, so you can always email me for that kind of session, and I will see you here next month. Blessings, much love.